Good evening, everyone. This is Barrett Matthews of E2E Systems. Many of you know me as a productivity and profitability coach, and that is what I am. But I wanted to share something different with you guys today. We're doing a webinar on how you can get government contracts within 90 days. Now, I know you're thinking, well, I've been at it for a long time. What do I need to do? Sometimes what you need is certification. Some of you are nodding your head because you know that's what you need. Some of you just don't know what to do or how to go about maneuvering so that you can get those contracts. Some of you are still nodding your head. Well, today I happen to have two experts in those fields, certification and getting those contracts, with me, and I want to talk to them today. I want to introduce you to Miss LaCheryl Jones. Hey, LaCheryl, how you doing?
I'm excellent. How are you? Hello, everyone.
And I want to introduce you to Mr. Andre Smith. How you doing, Andre?
Great, Barrett. Thanks for having me, man. Looking forward to having a productive conversation.
Fantastic. Well, guys, what we're going to do is talk about those things. So first, LaCheryl, I want to hand it over to you, and I want to let you tell the people who you are, what you do, and why they need to get in touch with you.
Absolutely. And again, Barrett, thank you so very much for the opportunity. My name is LaCheryl Jones, and I am the CEO of the 413 Corporation. And we offer businesses the power to transform through our multifaceted business support consulting solutions. And one of the flagship things that we do is state certification. We assist individuals with getting MDOT certified, and we also have the ability to help them on the local, state, and federal level. And both my business partner, Renee, and I were formerly from the Maryland Department of Transportation. And we jumped out into the world of entrepreneurship because we saw there was a need to holistically serve businesses. So the 413 Corporation is our for-profit entity whereby we offer that personalized one-on-one service. We help you from A to Z, from application to actual certification. The added value and what we have to offer is upfront. We assist you in pre-qualifying for certification, and we also help you submit a completely complete application, which is the #1 hurdle in the certification process. If you submit an incomplete application, you're going to be waiting a very long time to get certified. However, complete applications have a higher success rate. They take less time, which overall gets you certified faster. We also have a nonprofit arm called the Growth Center. Both of our businesses are based in Beltsville, Maryland. The Growth Center stands for Gain Resources and Opportunities Within, and it is the education-based arm of what we do. And it serves businesses, individuals, and communities alike. Of course, we transferred our expertise and certification to the Growth Center as well, and we offer monthly courses on certification preparation, as well as specific to the MDOT MBE application and how to be successful in completing it. We go page by page, step by step, and we offer individuals the opportunity to bring their applications in, tell us what challenges they're having, ask questions specific to their firm, and we have the opportunity to sit down in a private, small environment. We keep our classes small and really engage you in being successful in submitting your application. So right now we're really working that certification expertise that we have and bringing it to the community in a different way, both the business, individual, and general community, but we're hoping to branch off into community engagement, civics engagement, and et cetera.
Wow. And that's a mouthful right there.
It
They
is.
do a lot of stuff. I mean, and I want to address it a little later. I'm going to hand it over to Andre and say, but I definitely want to address that phrase that you have, completely complete. I like that. So, yeah. But Andre, tell the folks what it is that you do and why they need to talk to you.
Great. So Barrett, thanks again for having me on tonight. Again, my name is Andre Smith, and I'm a CEO of Emerge Business Coaching. And so we're an executive coaching, professional training, leadership training organization. And what we do is we work with CEOs, business owners, particularly those who have a desire to work inside of the government space and using government procurement as a way to grow their business and organizations. We work with them on one-on-one coaching. We also offer group coaching as well as roundtables, which is a very unique concept. That's a peer-to-peer where we bring together CEOs and leaders, and we talk about the challenges that are going on within their individual business. And so collectively, just think about having the power of 15 or CEOs sitting in one room, all focused without an agenda, focused on your particular challenges within your business. And so our process starts with strategic planning. So we talk about what are the goals, what are important to you as an organization, what are your priorities. We talk about your culture within your company. We talk about your capacity. A lot of times we talk to clients who are eager to grow their business, but we found oftentimes they don't have the infrastructure in place to even to be able to service a government contract or a large opportunity. So we do a lot of talking about what it takes to be prepared, what are the expectations on the government side, as well as what you should be prepared. As LaCheryl talked about, the certifications, very important to be able to identify the vehicles that you can use to leverage your particular business based on your skill set. So we work with CEOs and business leaders one-on-one and in group settings to help them grow and scale their organization. Most recently, we were awarded a contract with DC government, working with Mayor Bowles and her team at the local level in doing just that, growing a group of CEOs who were looking to do more business in the government space. In this sense, they were CBE, which is DC's minority certification. And proudly, I'd say we took 16 businesses in 6 months in crash MBE course and actually contributed about $14 million worth of new contracts to DC's local economy. And so that's something we're very proud of, and we're looking to expand those results for more small and local businesses.
Wow. You got a mouthful too. You guys do a lot to help businesses and organizations. So that's going to be a lot for the people watching. Now, for those of you watching, you want to get government contracts, you want to get certification. That's why you're here. What I want you to do is make sure you go to the Facebook page, a call to action, a call to action. Go on there, join that group right there, and post your questions there. So that way, when we go through the broadcast here, we can answer your specific questions. We have 2 people here who can help you with that. We want to make sure we get those questions answered. Well, I'm going to start the ball rolling here. So I want to ask you, first of all, LaCheryl, how many people do you run across that you feel need to be certified with their businesses?
Well, I've run across several people that feel the need to be certified. One thing that I typically say in engaging the general public, potential clients, et cetera, is it's not about just wanting to get certified. It's wanting to get certified and wanting to use it for something, knowing how you're going to wield it. Certification is a tool in your entrepreneurial belt. It takes time. While it is free, as in there's no monetary cost to apply for certification through Maryland Department of Transportation, if you look at your time is an investment. Your time is invaluable. So that's money that you're spending. So while it may be appealing to apply for certification because it's free, it's something that'll be a tool in your belt, it's really what you do with it that counts. And one thing that we've really been talking to people about is the value of relationships. And not necessarily always leading with your certification, but leading with the quality that you do, leading with your history, leading with your experience, engaging individuals, going to where the movers and shakers are. But I always encounter individuals who are looking for certification, especially with the explosion of projects in the DMV within the upcoming 6 to 12 months.
So do you feel that what do you think is the reason? What's the advantage to them in having the certification versus not having it?
The advantage to having certification is always access to that 29% goal that the state of Maryland has of procurements that they want to go to certified NBEs. The advantages are that you have an explosion of opportunity that's happening in the DMV between the Purple Line, between Trade Point Atlantic, between Sagamore Development, where they're really, really looking for people who are certified, but not just certified, but qualified. So there is definite advantage, to MBE certification. But like anything, you can have it, but how do you use it? How do you market yourself? One thing that is not told so much to individuals seeking certification is that it's not a guaranteed access to opportunity. General contractors, yes, they're searching for MBEs. Yes, they're wanting to engage these people, but it's still your responsibility to do the boots on the ground work and really search out and seek these opportunities. And even to take it a step further, to be involved at these at the table conversation, getting involved with the Governor's Office of Minority Affairs, getting involved with policy and legislation where the decisions are made at the table. So it really opens a world, you know, to your advantage. It benefits as far as being able to participate on opportunities and being able to leverage it as your voice, you know, when you attend these open events that are for MBEs to get their feedback regarding legislation, regarding decisions that are made. So there are several advantages to it.
Wow. So Andre, you work with a lot of businesses and doing a myriad of different things. How deep do you go as far as with government contracts?
Yeah, so so we have several clients who actively have government contracts or local government contracts. So I think that's a good way to put it is, you know, government can be broken down into your local government. So that could be your county government or your local jurisdiction. That could be your state government. And we just so happen to be sitting in the state of Maryland. And so we alluded to the MBE, or it could be federal government. And so I have clients in each of those spaces. And what we focus on, as LaCheryl said, is it's a big world. And what we do oftentimes is we look at government contracts, the size of the contract, and we say, wow, I want to be in that space. And so what we do is we say, okay, well, what does it take to be in that space? What are they looking for in that space? What are the requirements? What are the expectations? And then it becomes a business analysis to make a decision to say, yes, not only can I be in that space, but can I win in that space? And so one of the things we start with is with the strategic plan. And with that plan, we walk through, you know, what are the strengths of this organization? We do a SWOT analysis. And then we talk about, okay, well, what government agency would they be a good match with? So we would look at the budget of the agency, how the agency spends their money, what are their cycles, NICS codes. You know, NICS codes that's just a code that says, you know, it categorizes a particular service within an industry, and is look at certain agencies who has spending appetites that are larger for certain NICS codes than others. So it's important to match your organization, your background, your preference, your capabilities with agencies that are actually using your service. And so I have to steal a word, well, I'd say borrow, a word from Mary Bowser, who I was with very recently. And she said, you know, oftentimes people come to DC and they tell us what they do. She said, but what we want, she said, what I do at every opportunity is I tell them what we purchase, which is two different things. So she's saying, if you understand what we purchase, it's then your responsibility to position your company to be able to do business with us versus us changing our buying habits to do business with you. And so we don't need to overcomplicate the process. Business solves problems. And when we're able to solve problems, the economy benefits, society benefits. And so if there's anyone who has an interest in being in the government space, clearly look to see what problems you can solve that's going unsolved in the government space, and that then is you've created an opportunity for yourself.
Wow. So Andre, on that, now you're able to help these people.
Mm-hmm.
How many people do you deal with in your coaching with people in business? How many of them are looking for government contracts versus those who just want to stay in the public sector?
Yeah, so we look at government contracts, and as LaCheryl said, I love the way she put it, is that it's just another tool in your entrepreneur toolbox. So we look at government contracting as a growth opportunity for a company. So we don't look at it in a silo and say, oh, your company should be in government because of the prestige. We say, okay, based on the services you provide, based on your capacity, and based on your desire to grow your company, you know, is this a good match for the next step of growth and development? So typically, I would not advise a company that's a startup company that's, you know, less than 6 months into business to necessarily start with government contracts, because it's going to require some past performance. You're going to have to be able to show that you've performed services in the past. So I would say that government contracting is a part of a process for growth and development within an organization. It's not a standalone. It should complement other private efforts that you're doing to grow your organization. Because as we know, it's sometimes it can be reciprocal. So, you know, a new president or a new Congress or just the direction of policy within a country or within a community can put you out of business if you come to rely on one vehicle for growing your company.
Okay. So on that note, let's talk about this to LaCheryl. LaCheryl, we talked about what you can do to help them. Let's talk about some of the challenges that people run into when it comes to getting these government contract and getting certification. What are the challenges you run into when you're dealing with people?
The number one is the complete application, and I talk about it at every single class that I have. Completely complete applications. It really is the beginning and the end of certification. I mean, if you are really investing time, not starting and stopping, not saying I'm going to do it and then changing your mind, but if you are genuinely invested in submitting a thorough and complete application, that's going to be a benefit to you. Also, seeking advice and really understanding the qualifications, that actually comes first. You know, so we encourage individuals, while we have a free certification workshop through our nonprofit, and we offer paid, you know, for-profit, one-on-one services, we encourage individuals to attend Maryland Department of Transportation certification workshop the first Tuesday of every month. I used to teach it. It really gives you a snapshot into the basics of the qualifications and the requirements. That's where you get preliminarily what's required, you know, what the standard is, and how to move forward. The application is not, you know, that drastic. It's not something that's unachievable. It does require, you know, business documents. It does require everything, you know, knowing everything about your business and in some instances your personal life, because the goal is to maintain the integrity of the program. So it can be very labor intensive, but it's all the worse when you don't sit down and you commit to it up front. Because you find yourself frustrated. You find yourself, okay, now it's time for me to submit this application because there's an opportunity right on the other side, and you submit it incomplete. Or if you are a person who submits it complete, you're waiting for certification because you're still going to be waiting for the natural process to take place at the Maryland Department of Transportation. And they have a 90-day goal, but depending on volume, it can take a little bit longer, you know, so top two things: submitting a complete application. Number one is submitting a complete application. Number two is not waiting till the last minute to seek certification, because there is no process to expedite it. You don't want to be the person that has an opportunity at the door and now you're trying to rush through your certification. It just doesn't work that way.
Well, I'm hoping that they're hearing this. I really am hoping they're hearing this, because you told me something a while ago and it kind of blew my mind. How many people go through this and don't have their paperwork done properly?
90%. 90% of applications that are submitted are submitted incomplete.
That's amazing.
So out of 10 applications, 9 are not ready. And that's an accurate number, because it's so some common pitfalls to help draw the picture, because people may say, how easy is it to submit a complete application? Well, common pitfalls in submitting application are blank spaces. If there's something that doesn't apply to your firm, you need to write non-applicable or simply NA and give a brief written description. If there's something on the checklist that does not apply to you because you're a new business, or you just don't have it because you haven't reached that part of your business. For example, how many contracts you've had. You haven't had any yet. You write NA, blank space, but you also get that written description, but you also need to make sure that you include that narrative and are willing to speak on it. Making sure that everything is submitted in order can save so much time. While the process has transitioned to electronic, where you upload everything, you still want to make sure that you upload an order, that you're double checking, because it's amazing how many times people may upload the wrong document because it's just a placeholder telling you what you need. If you don't make sure that you upload the correct document, your application's incomplete.
Wow.
Keeping a copy of your application, preparing yourself for questions. Those are all things that you can do to be a winner. But 90% of applications, are submitted incomplete. Now, MDOT did introduce the online application to help combat that, and it's had some measured success as far as I understand. But it's really making sure that all your I's are dotted and T's are crossed, because you can upload an application with blank spaces. So
good point. Now, before I want to have, because Andre, it seemed like you wanted to expound on that. But before I do, I want to tell everyone who's watching, at the top of your screen there's a share button. Hit share on your social media, on Facebook, Twitter. You all know that you have some colleagues that need to hear this information. So share this with them. Make sure they're a part of this. They don't miss out on this information that these guys are giving. So Andre, did you want to expound on that as far as the paperwork and or what is keeping?
No, I mean, what LaCheryl said, I couldn't agree with her more. I guess what I want to drill down on, being a business coach and a strategist, is this is part of the process that we can actually control. Right. So once that application is released to the government, they're going to interpret what we submitted. And as Cheryl said earlier, it's not guaranteed that you're going to be approved. And so I think it's important on the front end to take the time that's required to be diligent in going through this and use someone like LaCheryl as a resource. Oftentimes I find that most small businesses are apprehensive about hiring other consultants and professionals, and they say, oh, I can't afford that. Well, what I tell them is you can't afford not to have a professional who has that level of experience inside the agency, have reviewed these applications, and can make these things very simple for you. It's really, really worth the investment. And as I said, that's something that we can control. And it's amazing that 90% of it is not done correctly.
And Andre, you touched on something earlier about what you do with Emerge Business Solutions. That you work with people in peer-to-peer groups and in peer-to-peer and group coaching.
Yes.
And for people who are looking at getting government contracts, I would think that it would help them to have someone who is a peer who can say, look, this is what I did, or you can just say, hey, you know what, you might not want to do that, just to help them in that situation. What would you say to that?
No, that's absolutely true. And I'll give you a quick example. I have one client that when we started working together, they had one small contract in local government space. And over the course of about 12 months with us working together, they were fortunate enough to get about 3 additional contracts. And so what that did for them as an organization, it was a game changer. They went from, roughly about $200,000 a year in revenue to 4.5 million in the first 12 months of us working together. Now, that is over 500% growth. So I'm not suggesting that every small businesses that takes on government contracting is going to grow at that rate. But what I am saying is the opportunity is there if you're willing to take advantage of some of the information's out there as it relates to growth. Now, one thing that this particular company that we were working from benefited from was, as you said, the roundtable. So when they got ready to submit their 8.8 application, we had actually brought in a professional from SBA who I'd worked with in the past, who was able to talk, as LaCheryl said, about the pitfalls in filing your 8A application. And so we bring subject matter experts like LaCheryl with a deep knowledge of the process on a strategic early on in the process, so that they can leverage themselves to be able to take advantage of these programs. So yes, Barrett, I mean, think about it this way. If you are a Fortune 500 company and you have a challenge as a CEO, you would go to the boardroom. That's where you get your resources. That's where you get your direction. That's where you plug in. But as a small business, most of us don't have an opportunity to plug in with someone with that level and depth of knowledge who's willing to share. And so that's what happens in the roundtable is we get these CEOs there and they're able to talk about, hey, when I had that challenge as a business owner, or when I grew.
Uh-oh. We froze up on Andre there for a second. Hopefully he'll come back to. We might have got lost in the signal there. But LaCheryl, I wanted to. Oh, there he is. Okay, you froze up for a second there, Andre. You there?
Yeah. Yes, I'm here.
Okay. You froze up for a second there, but I'm sorry. Continue what you were saying.
Yeah, so my point is the roundtable tends to be very fruitful for those CEOs who are really looking to grow their organization, because they get a cabinet of professionals who had not only been through the experience but willing to share.
And Barrett, I'd like to jump in and piggyback off of what Andre said, because it's very valuable that people understand the importance of building, again, relationships. Not just relationships in the pursuit of, hey, do you have a contract? I would like, to have that opportunity, but building relationships with individuals such as Andre, being in environments with like-minded thinkers, entrepreneurs, and really having an opportunity to ask questions and also grow. What is your strategy? What is your plan? Because another thing that's not so often thought about is, what do I do once I'm successful in the MBE arena? Like Andre said, they had that business that went from hundreds of thousands or none to millions. So what do I do when I'm facing so much success that now I may graduate out of the program? I've encountered businesses who are fearful, of that graduation point. I'm so successful in the MBE market. Oh my gosh, what am I going to do without it? Nobody's going to want me. That shouldn't be a fear that you have. That should be something that you plan for. So the importance of strategic development with anything that you do, is imperative, to your success. At the beginning, we sometimes as entrepreneurs think that we just have to keep our head down and keep pushing in the grind. And, we don't have money to invest in seeking assistance. We don't have time to sit in focus groups. But at the same point in time, if your wheels are spinning, if you're investing time and not getting a return, if you don't know your plan, if you don't know, how are you going to invest, in your future now, and what's your plan, then it can be very detrimental. Certification, again, is a tool in your belt like anything. What do you plan to do with this? So I agree. Strategic planning is very important in knowing what are you going to do.
And you spoke
on LaCheryl, I'm sorry, Barrett, if I can,
sure.
One thing that you just reminded me of, and that is, give yourself an opportunity to succeed. And what I mean by that is there's a lot of preconceived notions about what these government contracts are, what they're not. Do I need this vehicle? Do I not need this vehicle? And I'll give you just a quick example. I was with someone 3 days ago who did not have any success in the 8A program. He didn't have any traction whatsoever and was not awarded a contract through the 9 years he was in the program. There's probably a lot of reasons why he didn't. To be honest with you, the biggest factor is people, they don't get the relationships before they get the certification, and they look up and the certification is over. But this particular gentleman had a very unique of how he looked at the program, and he said, I would never recommend that anyone do this. Well, rewind 6 days prior, I was with a very successful 8A contractor who was awarded 98 construction contracts in 1 calendar year.
Wow.
In 1 calendar year, they were awarded 98 contracts through the 8A program. 2 totally different experiences. But if you were just to listen to one or the other, you may think, okay, I could do that, with lack of knowledge and preparation, which probably is not the case. Or you could say, I probably wouldn't do that program because he didn't have any success at it at all. So I would just say, give yourself an opportunity to be successful. Research these opportunities and find out which is uniquely situated for your particular situation.
And I like what you said there about give yourself an opportunity to be successful. One of the things that I was coaching some of my clients about is the fear, and you talked about fear, LaCheryl, but there's a fear of success. And, a lot of people have this fear of failure when they're starting a business, but that fear of success can stifle you just as much. If you're afraid of something before it even happens, but as you said, you should be preparing for success, not running away from it. That should be something that's your goal. Now, I want to ask you both, and you can jump in at any time. Do you work mainly on the local level, the state level, the federal level, or all of the above?
State is really booming right now because, you get MDOT certification, you pretty much take it into most jurisdictions with the exception of Baltimore City. And a lot of contracts that are, available in the boom, are federally funded contracts within the state. So there's a big push to get MDOT certified. But we always tell individuals, don't discount your local certifications. Don't discount your local certifications. They have databases just like Maryland Marketplace exists. They have local databases with opportunities and preference programs. For example, Prince George's County has a county-based preference program. So state is always the primary. People always come to us for state. We're starting to see more traction as far as local, but we're really pushing people to look into the local market. There are some good things, that exist out there.
And I want to add, I forgot to mention this as we began. LaCheryl is in the state of Maryland. So that's it. Because I'm not sure where everyone's watching from. She's in the state of Maryland. So if you didn't know, she said Baltimore City, you might have picked it up there. But I just want to make sure that you all know that. Now, here's the thing. For those of you who are watching and you're in other areas, this is why I told you, go to the Facebook page, a call to action, put in your questions because your questions may pertain to other states or other areas within Maryland. But we won't know that unless you put in the question. Andre, the same thing to you. Do you just work in one particular area or do you work state, federal, local?
No, yeah. So our clients really drive the process for us. So we have clients that work with the federal government, and those contracts take them all over the country. In some cases, all over the world, and we support them through the growth plan in doing that. Like for instance, I'm in Florida about every 7 weeks. So a client of mine has a contract there, and we perform the training aspect of that contract, and so that takes us there. We have about 45 employees there in Florida. So the beautiful thing about what LaCheryl is saying is it all comes down to a plan. Once you formulate a plan and have a strategy, the world kind of opens up, and it will make it very clear for you where you need to be positioned. And again, that's going to be based on the services you provide and who's buying your services. I have a client who did janitorial, and for him, we strategically went to remote areas where the competition wasn't as steep. And so he set up an office, for instance, in Alabama. Well, in the DC metropolitan area, it's the highest concentration of government contractors anywhere in the world, probably, but definitely within the United States. And so my point there is, if an agency is looking for a certain service, it's very hard to be unique and set yourself apart if it's a flood of people in the marketplace. And so what we strategically did with him was place him on opportunities where it didn't have as much competition in those remote areas, and then he came back to be able to compete once he had past performance. And so I would say that, Barrett, is with the internet and a lot of the resources that are available out here now, it's not as difficult as it used to be able to perform on contracts that are states away.
Okay, that makes a lot of sense because I mean you have to have everything in place, and you want to make sure you're working in the particular area that you want to go into. And like you said, you're working with people who get stuff going all over the world. Now, generally, because I don't want to talk to LaCheryl on this. In that, well, both of you actually, because both of you are in that quote unquote DMV area. How does that relate? Does it cross over into DC any?
Yeah, so it does in the sense that, well, let's take certifications, for example. DC has their own set of certifications, and theirs are called CBE, these are certified business enterprises. So they're similar to other states' MBE. The way that DC is a little different than most jurisdictions is DC is actually the law. And so it's not just a good idea. So in Maryland, the Maryland governor and the government is very committed in growing minority and small businesses through the MBE program. However, DC actually has laws on the book where you have to hire a certain number of DC employees, as well as certain contracts has to be awarded to DC businesses under certain circumstances.
Oh.
So yes and no. Yes, that DC is similar in the fact that it does have procurement opportunities, but it is very different in terms of the preferences that DC uses. Like for instance, DC, you can actually get awarded more points, which means it improves your ability to get a contract awarded. For instance, if you live in the city and having your business in the city. So there's some components that makes it very attractive for DC residents to be certified in, say, DC versus Maryland. But again, I think it goes back to the service you're offering and who's buying that service.
Mm-hmm.
That was gonna actually my next question. I was gonna ask you, does it matter if they reside in the area or not? And LaCheryl, does that matter as far as certification?
For state of Maryland certification, they require two things. So you have to be certified in your home state first before you apply for certification here. But if your home state is Maryland, then your home state is Maryland and you get certified there. But there's also this unique opportunity to take your certification from state to state. And that's through the DBE Interstate program, which is something that not a lot of people realize the value in it. So you pretty much have two levels certification. Your MBE, which is managed state to state. Any state that has an MBE program, the MBE program is managed by that state's legislation. DBE is the federal model by which the MBE program is drawn from. And the DBE, which is overseen by USDOT, United States Department of Transportation, offers you the opportunity to get certified, for lack of a better term, on a national level. So it works to give you access to USDOT federally funded contracts in the state, but it also allows you to go interstate with your certification. So if there's another state that has a DBE program, then you go to that state and have access to those opportunities. But the rule of thumb is that wherever you seek certification, you must be certified in your home state first. And your home state is where your business is headquartered, not incorporated. People get that confused all the time. My business is here in Maryland, but I incorporated in Delaware. Where do you do the majority of your business? If that answer is Maryland, then you need to get certified in Maryland first.
That's a bonus right there for y'all because you definitely need to know that. That's a good one right there. Now, when in dealing with certification, LaCheryl, if I'm just starting out, if I want to say to you, LaCheryl, how long would it take me to go through this process? What answer would you give me?
I would give 3 to 5 months. There's a goal of 90 days, and the Maryland Department of Transportation has been working aggressively to meet that goal. But the number one thing that's going to help you get through certification is, guess what?
Completely complete.
That completely complete application. It helps you, it helps them, everybody wins. So the process, I would say 3 to 5 months, but closer to the 3 within their 90-day goal, if you help yourself by helping them and submitting a completely complete application.
Well, I mean, to be honest with you, it makes sense. Like you said, there's no guarantee that you'll get approved for getting a contract, but you don't want to guarantee that you don't. and by not completing your paperwork, you guarantee that you don't. So
and one other thing that I want to throw in is making yourself aware of the process and the qualifications, beforehand. One avenue that we were recently introduced to by a lawyer, as a matter of fact, was engaging businesses during the business setup. If they're looking, to maybe in their business plan, MBE contracts is part of it. Helping them understand, what the setup looks like and what the qualifications are for MBE certification. You really want to invest the time up front into making sure that you do an assessment of if you qualify. If you don't qualify, don't apply. It's as simple as that. However, unfortunately, we have some individuals that do attempt to apply for the program because there's money in it. However, I have come across some firms who I believe were legitimately trying to do, what they just thought was the right thing, but in getting that start out and having people invest in getting them off the ground, you had complications in really drawing a clear picture as to whether or not you are 51% minority owned, or if you're running the day-to-day operations of your business. So investing up front in making sure that you are legitimate, and actually know the qualifications is imperative, because once you get denied, not only do you have to wait a certain amount of time to reapply, but you're also now going in with a denial. So it's going to be scrutinized a little bit more. One of our clients actually was denied, in an assessment of the situation. It was an opportunity where had this person, looked at it up front, they would have discovered some things, or had someone take a look at it and say, hey, you may want to rethink this, or is this really what you meant? That would have helped tremendously, because once you're denied, typically you're denied for a legitimate reason, and you're going to have to do some real work to draw, how you fix that.
That's an interesting point there. Now, Andre, I want to pose the question I asked to you, as far as the clients that you work with. If I'm coming to you and I say, Andre, I think my business should be getting some government contracts, what do you say to me?
No, I'd say that potentially that you may be positioned to be able to do that. Again, I look at it as it relates to the strategic plan, a growth plan. So we're looking out the next 3 to 5 years. What are we doing to position your organization over the next 3 to 5 years? And to Cheryl's point is, when we do it that way, and we're not just looking in a vacuum to say, oh, here's a shiny coin that's called government contracting, let me go and grab it. But if we're actually looking at a 3 to 5 year growth plan, then there's some things that's going to be important that we consider in that plan, that we wouldn't have some of the pitfalls that LaCheryl had mentioned earlier. Because if we know that's a space that we're moving towards, we're positioning the company like that, each and every year, so that we can get to the point where we're actually going to be a great candidate to get the approval of the application. So in terms of structure, how the company is structured, say for instance, a woman owned, that's another vehicle. And so you and your wife may work in the business together, but maybe it was your business idea, but maybe she is part of the organization. So that's an example of having that strategic conversation to say, well, hey, maybe we should make the wife the head of the company, because then we can use the woman-owned designation or vehicle. And so you're not circumventing anything. It's totally legal to do that. But what I'm suggesting is, if it's a strategic conversation and you understand what these opportunities are, you can position your company in such a way where you can actually win in the space. So you may be doing everything that's required, but maybe your structure is not going to give you the most success. And so that strategic conversation will help position you to be able to do that.
Okay, so let's say I'm sorry, go ahead, LaCheryl.
To piggyback off of what Andre was saying, if that is a decision that you make, you need to clearly define that as a strategic move. And it definitely needs to be part of a plan, and that plan needs to show that if the individual who is a woman is taking over the operation, or working in a capacity within the operation that dictates the day-to-day operation, then there needs to be a clear line that is drawn. And it's a very fine line that you walk between making a strategic decision to have a woman take over your company and being a front and a pass-through. And it's very important that individuals who do take that route ensure that the picture is day-to-day operation. And that's commonly referred to as control, which is one of the evaluation criteria. Does the individual who's the 51% represents the 51% ownership as a minority in the firm, the company, the corporation, have the knowledge, skills, and expertise to critically evaluate the work and run the day-to-day operations? So it's very important that individuals understand that, and that's one thing that's commonly forgotten, sometimes intentionally, but sometimes unintentionally. We have people who are legitimate, they just don't understand the full context of the picture that needs to be presented. I, for example, run the day-to-day operations of my business. If I own a window framing business, yes, I have people that go out and frame windows. Yes, I have people that go out and do the work. But as a CEO, I should have some knowledge, skills, expertise, past experience in the realm of window framing. I should be able to visit a site and critically evaluate the work. I should be able to say, that I know what I'm doing, and running and show and draw that picture as well.
I like that. And because what you're saying is, don't just make a decision to put someone out front just because it looks good. Make sure
That's
that
right.
person is capable. And I like that.
Make sure that you're able to make that understood, that it wasn't just a jump to seek certification, but a strategic move, as Andre said. It's great advice, yes, to have that as part of your strategic plan, because it does happen. Women take over businesses, they're inherited, and we've seen on both sides of the fence, women have inherited businesses, now they're in a situation where they're doing what they've always done, but they're having a hard time explaining that and showing and demonstrating that they have it. But you hear also commonly of individuals who are really just taking advantage of that designation. So make sure that your plan is strategic, and you can do that by utilizing people such as Andre to help you really map that out.
Wow. And I think we just lost Andre for a second.
Yeah, so we did. I just saw him drop off.
That's okay. I'm sure he'll come back in. But LaCheryl, yes. So you said that you like to get them going in like three to 6 months as far as through the certification program. Now, other than the paperwork, are there any other things? I know, because you mentioned something like when someone gets denied, there's a reason. What are some of the reasons someone may get denied?
Control is one of the main culprits in certification denial. So there are 5 qualifications: ownership, which says you have to be, the firm must be 51% owned by one or more socially and economically disadvantaged individuals. Minority classifies the social disadvantaged portion. Women, African American, Native American, Hispanic American, subcontinent Asian American are considered to fall into that presumed socially disadvantaged group. Disclaimer: that's not to say that if you don't fall into those categories that you're not disadvantaged. What that says is that group is presumptively disadvantaged. If you don't fall in that group, you bear the burden of proof in showing how you've been discriminated against. Have people been successful? Yes. For example, individuals of Middle Eastern descent that have said that they've been discriminated against as far as their appearance, their religious beliefs, just their look. But ownership, minority, those are 2. Personal net worth, there's an established cap for each certification. For MBE, it's $1.692 million that you can't go over. Personal net worth are your assets minus your liabilities. And if you're married, you're 50%. Does not include the value of your personal residence. Does not include the value of the business that you're seeking certification in.
Wow.
Disclaimer. They will ask about your home, and they will evaluate your business to make sure that you're not pushing money there and holding it or hiding it for certification process purposes. Size, you must be small according to United States Small and Business Administration. And that's where those NAICS codes, North American Industry Classification System codes, come in. Whatever your job descriptor is via NAICS code, you have to fall below that established cap via gross annual dollars or number of employees, depending on what it is. But control, which is the 5th and final preliminary qualification. Control, simply put, is do you have the knowledge, skills, and expertise in what you're seeking certification for? So I'll go back to that example I gave earlier, window framing. Okay, I do window framing. Great. I'm a woman. I own this window framing business. Well, Mrs. Jones, how do you know that this window is framed correctly? Tell me what you know about window framing. Well, I know that that's a window. Windows go on buildings and people install them to keep stuff from outside going in, from inside going out. That's not enough. How do you know that the window's framed correctly? How do you know, what type of windows you would recommend for a client? What previous experience do you have in window framing? Those are some questions that you might be asked. But the number one culprit when it comes to control is, okay, well, tell me what your role is in your window framing business. Okay, well, I get invoices. I ensure that the invoices are paid. I communicate with the client as far as, whatever their needs may be, and I make sure that the needs are performed and that paperwork is done on time and processed. What do you do when it comes to the day-to-day operations? How do you oversee it? Who signs for the money? What was your role in starting the business? What is your role in who makes the decisions? Is there anyone that makes decisions over you? Pretty much, it can't be just an administrative role, which is what we see a lot of. A lot of individuals don't understand why the administrative role and the administrative piece is not enough, because it's the administrative piece. And that's someone that's not necessarily an overseer of the day-to-day operations, or someone that's critical, to the success of the company, or has that knowledge, those skills and abilities specific to the intricate details of window framing. You could be classified as a paper pusher. So when it comes to being denied certification, it's really drawing the picture that you run the day-to-day operations. You have the knowledge, skills, and abilities, and your ability to articulate that and demonstrate that when it comes to time for certification.
That makes perfect and total sense. Now, guys, if you're watching, once again, share this. Hit the buttons up top to share. But you can put your questions. The Facebook page is a call to action. You can put in your questions if you have any. One thing I'm noticing, and I hope you guys have picked this up too, Andre and LaCheryl definitely need to be working together, because they go hand in hand with what they do. And I'm so proud to say I introduced them. But
yes, you did. Yes, you did.
Hey, I'm glad it's working out, because you guys are phenomenal in what you do. It's obvious. You know what you're talking about. You know what you're talking about. It rolls off your tongue so fluidly. It's so easy, because you definitely know your craft. You know what you're doing. So in knowing that, there's a lot of stuff that you just spilled out to a lot of people, and there's a lot for them to take in, especially for those people who have a business, who have been trying to get a certification, who've been trying to get contracts, who've been running into a brick wall. Mm-hmm. It would, to me, maybe it's just obvious to me, but it may not be obvious to them, and I don't want to make it clear to you guys. It's obvious to me that it would benefit you to hire, yes, I said hire, someone like LaCheryl, someone like Andre, to help you in making sure that you don't keep limiting yourself from getting government contracts. See, let me tell you something. I coach people on being more productive. That's my forte. It's common sense that if someone knows something about a particular area than you do, then you go to that person to get the information that's going to make you more productive, instead of you banging your head up against the wall, getting frustrated, mad at the government, mad at the powers that be, mad at the gatekeeper. You know what I'm talking about, LaCheryl. Yeah. You're mad at everybody else instead of doing what you need to do. Now I know you're going to say, "Oh, well, that's going to cost money." Well, guess what? It's an investment in your business. When you let me tell you, I gotta coach a little bit here, LaCheryl. Someone once told me that if you treat it like a business, it will pay you like a business. If you treat it like a hobby, it will cost you like a hobby. So when you're talking cost, you're seeing it as a hobby. When you treat it like when you talk about an investment, then you're treating it like a business, because every business owner invests in their business. So someone like LaCheryl and someone like Andre, I think if you're interested in getting certifications and you're interested in getting government contracts, it's a no-brainer. You find out what it's going to, what the investment is going to be, so you can start reaping some of the benefits and getting the return on that investment. But it's your business. Now, and on that note, LaCheryl, how many people do you run into? And I'm just gonna step on some toes now. How many people do you run across that you feel, you know what, you probably don't need to be in business at all?
I like to say I have a positive outlook.
Okay, all right.
And I quote, not that your look isn't positive, but I encourage people. But I would say that I have come across a few people that, for example, have stepped up and said, "I'm ready for certification." We've engaged them in a process, and then they've dropped off the face of the planet. They've come back and they said, "Okay, I'm ready." And we're like, "Okay, let's go." And then they drop off the face of the earth. So to piggyback off what you were saying earlier, it's about an investment. And it's not just an investment of money. It's an investment of time. if you're not willing to invest your time in it, then you're not going to be willing to invest your money. And it's very important that you keep in mind that anything that you do that gives you a high return, on whatever investment you make requires a substantial investment, So I would say that I'm coming across people that aren't ready because there's that lack of interest in investing time, but we also come across people who are frustrated. They're out there, they're working, and they're just tired of spinning their wheels. So one thing that we do is we encourage them to utilize free resources, number one. Okay. And then once you utilize free resources and you're investing your time, into what's out there and readily available freely, then you're going to build yourself to be ready to build, an investment, and invest, monetarily into something. Because it's really, you have to see the value in anything, because as, you, Andre, and I can speak, it's up to the individual, to really make the commitment. And I really think that investing time first, and your free resources, we always push them. Get to know what it is that you're looking to do. Visit the Maryland Department of Transportation. Look at the business development centers that offer you courses on, how to grow, how to start your business. SCORE, is out there. Small business development centers, are out there. We cater to individuals who are really looking to get it done. Dot your I's, T's crossed with experts. That's the realm in which, the three of us operate. But it really is a self-assessment. Am I ready? Am I willing to commit time? And then that transitions into money. I would like to say few and far between. And if I do encounter someone that really and genuinely isn't ready or not really getting the clear picture of what this entrepreneurial game looks like, then I challenge them. So I challenge, everyone who's made a commitment tonight and investing their time to make sure that you hit the ground running with what you learned tonight.
I like that. I like that a lot. Because see, the thing is, and the reason I had you expound on that is because, let's talk about your analogy of the window framer. There are people out there that are very good at framing windows, and because they're very good at framing windows, they say, you know what, I'm going to start a window framing business. But you know where I'm going. And
yes.
But that doesn't mean that you need to have a window framing business, or that doesn't mean you need to be the one in front. And sometimes you need to find someone who can be out front, who knows business, or sometimes you just need to be the contractor. And it happens like that. So that's why I say sometimes you may run across them, but apparently you don't. I do.
Oh, no, I do. No, I definitely run across some people, and that wasn't, what I intended to communicate. But it's definitely, when you meet those people, you identify, where it is that they are, and some people really need to realize that it's not easy, and everyone that's in window framing probably, should reevaluate their commitment to it.
Yeah, you're absolutely right. And it doesn't matter. We're using window framing. It could be anything, but we're just saying. But you know what? The word that you said though was commitment.
Yes.
And that's what it boils down to. Because we talked about an investment of money. We talked about investment of time. You have to invest your energy and your commitment.
Yes.
Because that's where it's really going to show. Because you're going to have setbacks. And it could be a setback of your finances. It could be a setback of you getting denied for that contract.
Yes.
It could be a setback in you not having your paperwork right for your certification. Your commitment has to be stronger than all of those things combined. Because if it's not, you're going to fall into the masses. You'll fall right into the masses, or as they say in the movie Get Out, you'll be in the sunken place. So we want to make sure that you don't end up there.
No one wants to be in the sunken place.
No one wants to be in the sunken place. So we want to make sure that you get everything done properly, and you don't run into those pitfalls that so many. That's why we're doing this webinar tonight, because we want to make sure you don't run into those pitfalls and getting those contracts and getting that certification. So many of you want to get that government money. And let's be honest, that's what you want. You want that government money. As I say, that good government money. You want it. But how committed are you to making sure it gets done? We're not disputing that you have, a quality business. We're not disputing that you're very skilled at what you do. But the government has a protocol. And you all know this. I'm not telling you anything you don't know. They have a protocol. And I'm not talking about the federal government. I'm not talking about the local government. I'm not talking about your state government. I'm talking about all of the above. They all have a protocol. You have to follow it. People like Andre, people like LaCheryl, they help get you on the right track on that. My job is to make sure you do what you're supposed to do. So what we want to do is make sure that those things fall into place. Now, LaCheryl, we're going to wrap up in a few minutes. I want to make sure that you get a chance to tell everyone here, first of all, why they need to get in touch with you, and what is it that they need to do when they leave this webinar. What is it that they need to focus on, really focus on to get things done the right way?
Absolutely. And again, Barrett, thank you so very much for the opportunity, and thank you all for investing your time. I really appreciate it. One reason that you need to reach out and get in contact with us is that we offer tier levels of service. People call us crazy for starting a nonprofit and a for-profit business at the same time, but it's provided us a very unique opportunity. We offer both an educational component of what we do, and we also offer, a for-profit educational component of what we do. So I like to consider, our services as far as certification tiered. We always encourage individuals to stop at Maryland Department of Transportation first, just because they're out there, that's something that's available the first Tuesday of the month. However, once a month, we also are hosting certification preparation courses. The first one is going to be on May the 25th. That's our next one that's coming up. And that is next Thursday, not this Thursday. And it's going to be from 10 a.m. to 12 p.m. at the Grow Center. If you visit our website, www.thegrowctr, C is in cat, T is in Tom, R is in Robert.org, and you visit our events calendar, not only will you see other great events that are out there that we're promoting, but also the events that we're holding in-house. On the 25th, we'll have our certification preparation workshop where you can learn all the basics that I spoke to today in more detail. But we also have a dissecting the certification application clinic, if you will. But we also call it a workshop. And that's going to be on May the 30th. And that is from 10 a.m. to 12 p.m. Now, the difference between the dissecting the application and the general session, if you will, is that you're going to get the basic requirements, the general overview of the certification process and steps on the 25th. On the 30th, you'll have the opportunity to sit down with us one-on-one, bring your certification application if you're in the process, or if you're preparing to submit an application, bring your application and you have the opportunity to sit down with us for 2 hours as we go page by page, line by line of the Maryland Department of Transportation Uniform Certification Application. The cost of that class is $50, and it is 2 hours of our time to ask us questions pertaining to your application and to go through it page by page. Next, I'm going to bounce over to the for-profit side and the 413 Corporation. If you're looking for, general consulting, I really want to try to do this on my own. I have an idea. I really just want to ask someone some questions. We offer hourly consultation rates. They'll start at $150 an hour, where you can literally call us and ask us a question. We also have full-scale certification packages. Those appeal to the individuals who have been to the certification classes, they are familiar with the process, and they really are just looking for concierge certification services where they can have someone that's going to dot their R's, cross their T's, and make sure that they're ready for certification from A to C and have someone there. Those certification packages start at $1,500. Our prices are highly competitive in contrast to the experience that we both have, as well as the services that we provide. We guarantee completely complete applications, and we've had a 100% satisfaction rate. We have been utilized by MGM National Harbor. We're an approved vendor, with MGM And we also have the opportunity to do some MBE consulting work for the Trade Point Atlantic project that's going on downtown in Baltimore and Bethlehem Steel, the Sparrows Point redevelopment. So the reason that you want to utilize us is not only because we have the knowledge, skills, and expertise, but we offer you tiered levels of service where you can go from education to full-scale concierge service, and we are ready to help you.
Wow. Now, I'm going to come right back to you. I have one thing I want to mention for those of you, if you missed Andre before he dropped off. You can email Andre at andre@emergebusinesscoaching.com. andre@emergebusinesscoaching.com. Or you can just check him out at emergebusinesscoaching.com, his site, but email him, get in contact with him. andre@emergebusinesscoaching.com. I would urge you all to reach out to him and take him up on his offer, what his business is doing to help you get those government contracts. Before we say goodbye, also, I have an offer that I'm going to give to everyone. But first, I want to have LaCheryl go over one more time what it is how they can get in touch with you.
Yes, thank you so very much. So you can get in contact with us via phone at 240-468-4468. Again, 240-468-4468. You can email us at info@thegrowctr.org if you're interested in our upcoming courses, classes, and workshops. We also encourage you to visit the Grow Center website and take a look at everything that we have of courses. That's www.thegrowctr.org. Or you can get in contact with us through 413. If you're looking for those certification suites of services, it's that's THE 413, those are numbers, 413 Corp, CORP.com. info@the413corp.com. And you can actually fill out an inquiry form on our website there as well, www.the413corp.com.
Get that certification, y'all. Get that certification. Get in touch with LaCheryl. She can help you. I promise you, she can help you. Also, I wanna tell you Andre's phone number, 240-317-9444. 240-317-9444. And once again, email him at andre@emergebusinesscoaching.com. Now, I have an offer for everybody. I have a gift for everyone. And here's the thing. I have a gift for you. And guess what? It is my birthday. Today is my birthday. Now,
happy birthday!
Thank you. You're thinking, what the heck are you doing a webinar on your birthday? Because it's about what I'm giving to you guys. That's right. I've lived long enough. I've gotten enough gifts. It's time for me to give to you guys. This is why I put this whole thing together with these two experts. They're giving up time. I'm giving up my birthday. It's okay. It's okay. I'll have other birthdays. Praise God. But the thing is, what I want to do is this. As you know, I work with productivity and profitability for you, all you entrepreneurs, no matter whether you're looking for government contracts, whether you just look to have your own business going, working in the private sector, whatever. What I want to do, I'm going to give you guys a free productivity strategy session. This is a session where we're going to sit down. We're going to go over everything about what your business does, what your strong points are, what your weak points are, and work out a strategy as to how we can help you to become more productive and more profitable. You're going to get that for free. Now, that would normally cost you, for the amount of time, we're going to do anywhere from $200 to $500, depending on how long, but I'm giving it to you for free. All you have to do, go online on Facebook right now. You can go to either Barrett Matthews on Facebook, or you can go to a call to action on Facebook. Go to a call to action or go to Barrett Matthews, and you'll see the offer right there for the strategy session. Also, I want to mention my free conference call, which is Tuesday nights at 10 o'clock, which is called, guess what? A call to action. It's a free conference call. You guys, we're talking about this tomorrow. This may affect some of you right now who are looking for those contracts. The topic tomorrow is, I hate my job. Now what? Ooh. Yeah. I hate my job. Now what? So many of you out there complain about your job, but what are you going to do about it? You may need to talk to LaCheryl so she can give you a solution. I'm just saying. You may need to talk to Andre. You know, he may be able to come up with a strategy for you in doing so. I'm just a thought. What do you think, LaCheryl?
I think that sounds like a good plan. Strategic.
That's a good plan. She's right. She's right. So, guys, that's the end of this broadcast on how to get government contracts in 90 days. We talked about a whole lot. I hope you guys were taking notes. I hope you were sharing it. We had a good number of people that took part in this, and I want to thank you guys. Give us your feedback. If you want us to do more on it, let us know. We'll be more than happy to come back and do some more for you. I was hoping we got some questions from you guys, but maybe we answered all the questions. I don't know. Maybe we answered them all.
Maybe.
But we're gonna hopefully bring it back again, guys. If you guys like it, we enjoyed it. LaCheryl, I want to thank you for contributing so much and for filling in for when Andre dropped off. So.
Thank you so very much, Barrett, for having us on. I really appreciate you. Thank you.
Oh, I appreciate you too. So,
and thank you to everyone out there as well.
Yes, thank you guys. And as I always say before I go, don't just settle for being awesome. Set your goal to them all, and take action, guys. We'll see you guys later. Have a good night, everyone.
You do the same. Bye.
Bye-bye.